Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith, and
Kerry Smith.
Giving you all the late breaking news last week, wrapping it all up, telling you what happened on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. This is Smith Radio, Military Veteran Talk Radio, and we are doing a special Christmas Eve special.
Very special.
Because it's very special. And today, if you're live in studio with us, you'd be on Periscope, watching us at Brian P. Smith, SMYTH on Periscope. And find us, if you want to listen to the audio version, just audio only, you can listen to the podcast on smithradio.info. Or if you've got iHeartRadio in your car, you can go ahead and turn on iHeartRadio and find us there, SMYTH Radio. If you want to bookmark us, like go to your computer or your phone or whatever, bookmark the iHeartRadio link. It's iHeart.smithradio.com. Create a quick little link for you. And we are doing a wrap-up, a 2017 wrap-up of the greatest year that I think I can't remember a year that was better than this year in my entire life.
You'd have to go back to a time where you'd have to think, because we were children, that we may not be, we might not remember things correctly. But as an adult who can understand what's happening to America, it definitely feels like the greatest year ever.
I mean, when I was a youth, you didn't have many responsibilities and you might not have understood what was what. And, you didn't have a job or not those kind of years. I'm talking about the kind of year that we had, that we are cognitive of the actions and the things that are going on in our world on a daily basis, wrapped up in politics, folks. And we are here on Smith Radio to give you the facts, exposing the fiction, the fake news, and even with all the great news, this is going to be a very positive show. I wanted to make it a point to make this a very positive show because...
Which is not hard to do.
No, that's not. No. There's a lot of great information that's easy to find, but the mainstream media won't do it. This morning on CNN, they're posting clips of interviews with Bernie Sanders. They still dragging Bernie Sanders around. Like he's going.
Isn't he older than Trump? I mean, the idea. I know what people are thinking on the left. Like, I'm going to bring Bernie Sanders back for 2020. And I'm thinking, there was a lot of questions as to the age of certain candidates over the years. And it seemed like Trump overcame that question because of his energy. And, they say he only sleeps 4 hours a day. The other 20 hours he's working his butt off. He was doing 5 rallies a day. Sometimes he would do a rally, and because of the overflow, he would have to go and do a mini rally within the rally.
Wasn't it like the last day he did 6 states in 24 hours? 5 states in 24 hours? Not trying to exaggerate, folks, but the fact.
Well, I thought it was impossible to do 3, or not impossible, but extremely difficult. And when they said we were doing 5, I thought that they were just saying that and not really doing that, just to kind of, for hyperbole or whatever.
Right.
And then you look at their schedule and you're like, they actually were doing that. You got to be kidding me. That seems impossible.
They had to change out Secret Service, and then they had...
they couldn't keep up.
They had Lance Armstrong's doctor giving them clean blood.
Oh, my God.
Oxygenated blood.
Wow.
Keep them going, man. Whatever it takes. Keep them going.
Yeah.
Oh,
that is really, yeah. It seems like that's the only way it's possible. But he was 70. At the very beginning of his campaign, he was 69, and then he turned 70. And he kind of proved that...
June 14th, Gemini.
Yeah, so he kind of proved that you don't really need to have the actual chronological youth behind you. But... come on, he's a freak of nature, right? I mean, Donald Trump is an absolute freak, and you can't expect that. Oh well, if Donald Trump can do that, surely the communist Sanders can do that, or that the sick Hillary is going to be able to pull that off.
Dude, she was falling apart,
and Joe Biden's he actually looks young for his age.
He's not bad. He's as old as my dad. I think he's 75.
But he's no Donald Trump. We're not going to get a freak of nature like that in our lifetime again. So let's just enjoy it and understand that I mean, bring it on as far as I'm concerned, 2020. You want to bring a 75, 76, 77-year-old up against Donald Trump, bring it on is all I got to say.
Yeah, Joe Biden, 75, born the same year as my father, 42.
Yeah, he may look young, but, there's a thing about Trump. Trump may not look as young as Joe Biden, but we know he's a freak of nature. He's proven it time and time again. He's able to do these 5 rallies a day. He's able to drag Secret Service out of sleep in order to protect him. Like, come on, we got to go.
Right. They've got multiple shifts keeping an eye on this guy. It's unbelievable.
Right. And you need that because you would most people would start to hallucinate from the lack of sleep just to keep up with Donald Trump. And so that's why you have to double the man hours.
Or like Hillary Clinton, where you start falling down all over the place.
Oh, that's a lot of work. Dragging her around. I mean, Weekend at Bernie's, those guys were in their early 20s, right? They were able to, and there's 2 of them. The 2 young, strapping men were able to drag Bernie around, Weekend at Bernie's.
Right.
And with somebody like, Hillary Clinton's carcass is a little bit, it's more dead weight.
Okay, she got some trunks down there on the legs. I'm just saying, this is big old trunks.
Cankles are not light. They just aren't. I'm just saying.
They wanted to make it look like her and Bill were in this loving relationship during the campaign. Do you remember that?
They tried to, but there's no way you're convincing anybody of that.
He was on the beach. They were both on a beach, a private beach.
Was it an island, kind of like Weekend at Bernie's?
She was in a bathing suit.
Okay.
They took a picture of him.
All right.
No, it looked awful. It's just like Kasich chowing down on some food during the campaign. Who shovels food in their mouth like that in front of a camera?
He folded a flapjack in half and started shoving it in his face while he was arguing.
He couldn't eat fast enough.
Yeah, he had to fold it in half, and that was
so. Bernie
hilarious.
Sanders is 76. He's one of the older of all the candidates,
and he looks 76. Come on, let's be honest here. Anyway, so
right.
We're supposed to be positive. It's funny. Funny is positive.
No, it is, folks. We're laughing because of all the insane fake news that's out there. People aren't believing it. It is so bad that Washington Post posted an article today saying something to the effect of White House denies comments about black immigrants. However, our analysts show that most black immigrants believe he would have said it.
Oh, my God. Hold on. We've said this.
That's a fact. It's a fact. It's really true.
This is a phenomenon that we have addressed here on Smith Radio at least once extensively during the campaign and even during the general election and the primary. And that is that critics of Donald Trump critique him for not what he actually does, but what they think he will do. And this is it right there.
Right.
So this is nothing new. It's the same thing. You got the false allegations. You got the critiques of what he may do, not what he actually does. And people are too smart to fall for this stuff. And that's why he's our president. And that's why he's going to continue to be supported, because people are not going to believe you when you say that you believe Trump would say something like that. Right?
Right. No, absolutely.
Makes
absolutely.
no sense.
And so take it from us. Feel confident and calm and knowing that the majority of America is seeing the fake news. They know what it is. It's not something that they're believing. They're not buying it. And then the average everyday Joe who doesn't get plugged into politics until campaigns roll around, they're not even hearing this stuff.
Well, they'll just see just the headline and they'll say, wow, can you believe that happened? And I'm like, well, did you read the whole article?
Right.
No, but I saw the headline. I know it. No, it was intentionally misleading. And you get the real facts when you get to the end.
So I had Social Justice Warrior call me out and say, well, obviously Roy Moore did something. He's in Alabama and I'm in Cincinnati and I heard about him. So obviously he did something.
He did something because they're reporting on it. And when they report on it, something happened. That's all I got to say.
Speaking about that, this past week, this is the Christmas Eve, day before Christmas. And this past week has been a whirlwind of a week.
Well, it depends on when this is going to air.
It will air tonight.
Because if it airs tomorrow, then we're supposed to act like, oh, the presents I opened
You
up.
just
We're
blew it.
We're supposed to describe like what presents we got.
I thought we agreed we were going to lie about it.
Well, we are. Let's start lying about it.
Like MSNBC.
Yes, I think that was Joe Scarborough.
It was Joey.
Pull that off on Thanksgiving. And Mika. Oh, they're. So
We're not going to
sad.
lie to you, folks. This is
Yeah.
pre-recorded, but we had to do it because of friends and family
Like
for
just
tonight.
several hours prior, though. Just several hours.
Yeah, this is technically Cincinnati time. It's 1:20 in the afternoon, Sunday,
Right.
Christmas Eve.
So we're right there. It's not like we're going to start telling you about all the awesome presents we got.
No, but I will tell you about the awesome sauce that happened this week.
Yes, let's do that.
I had a mid-thought. Got sidetracked.
What happened this week?
Absolutely nothing. That's what it was. I was going to bring up the fake news, MSNBC, just screaming and yelling about how horrible the tax budget that passed. Every one of them. Weren't you even talking about Yahoo News, talking about all the bad things that Trump has done when ironically it became a puff piece for Trump? Every time they bash this tax thing, look at what they're saying. It makes you realize, oh my God.
Well, I can go through
There's
the list.
some great things that are going on.
You want me to go through the list?
Yeah. And this is from Yahoo.
I'm pretty much going to read this article because it's a puff piece for Trump. It's on Yahoo. And if you don't know about Yahoo.
Yeah, give them the heads up on Yahoo.
Okay, so Brian constantly critiques me, and rightfully so, because I am a consumer.
Dude, I can't do it. My head
I'm a
implodes.
watchdog. I'm a watchdog for fake news like Yahoo. And Yahoo is such a big news source for so many people that it's important that I keep tabs on them. So
True.
they came out with an article, and it's titled 10 Obama Regulations Trump Has Overturned by David Knowles. And I've actually blasted him on Twitter before for his fake news. And this was a really sad attempt to try to bash Donald Trump, and he doesn't realize that anybody who doesn't completely biasly hate Trump is going to read this and say, all right, good to go, Trump. So here it goes. Over the past 12 months, President Trump has been on a mission to try to erase Barack Obama's legacy. Quote, I've been very active in overturning a number of executive actions by my predecessor, Trump boasted in November, before lamenting that he could not go so far as to reverse Obama's pardon of 2 Thanksgiving turkeys. By that point in his presidency, however, Trump had already taken aim at what he and many Republicans regarded as executive overreach by the Obama administration, dismantling dozens of actions put in place by the previous White House occupant. Whether a necessary philosophical collective or vindictive obsession, Trump's executive order counteroffenses carries more than mere symbolic value and represents a dramatic policy shift that will impact the nation and the world for years to come. Here are 10 of the most significant Trump reversals of Obama orders so far. Number 1. Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, which you know is called DACA for short.
Real quick on DACA this week, folks. Breitbart News put out an article that I really disliked, but they put out an article saying that Trump's tax plan doesn't get rid of DACA.
Oh,
So I looked into the article, and the wording said from Breitbart, which I've trusted Breitbart, but they got never Trumpers over there. The first couple lines, it said, the loose wording in this tax bill doesn't necessarily remove. The loose wording allows for opening and walk through. However, you go on a Democrat side and they're screaming their head off because they lost DACA.
yeah.
So come here for the real news, folks. If liberals are screaming that Trump removed DACA, you gotta believe it.
Well, let's hear what David Knowles has to say about it. Okay. I mean, he's a liberal, and if he says something, let's
just hear what the libs say.
Signed in 2012, Obama's executive order offering legal protections from deportation to children brought into the country by undocumented immigrants, parents, offered a legal respite for nearly 800,000 people. While it is not a permanent solution, many Republicans in Congress sided with Democrats in the view that children protected under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program should ultimately be granted U.S. citizenship. This is why Republican voters are so angry, because they didn't want the Republicans in Congress to go along with that.
And something I've noticed about just everyday average citizens, just a regular Joes, just going about their life, not political, not just going about your daily life. We all need to know, and we all like to know, and like to feel that there's rule of law everywhere, even at the grocery store. Right. Dude, somebody cuts in front of you in line, and everybody's like, what?
And we have mixed feelings about the DACA program here at Smith Radio. I've actually argued during the primary that DACA is really the key to the Trail of Tears.
Yeah.
Which is, what I don't think it's necessary. And it's 800,000 when you consider there's 20 million illegal immigrants here.
Right.
It seems like there's so much more low-hanging fruit that we could go after. And by the time we get done with all the low-hanging fruit, by the time we get to DACA, it's almost invisible, right? So that's why, to me, it's a low priority. But anyway. But on September 5th of 2017, President Trump put that possibility in doubt. Quote, "Make no mistake, we are going to put the interest of the American citizen first," unquote, is what Trump tweeted ahead of the announcement by his attorney general that he was rescinding Obama's action. The matter now rests in Congress. So number 2, transfer for surplus military equipment to local police. I have some, I almost feel like I'm on Obama's side on this one. Listen to this.
Yikes.
In 2015, in the wake of what some viewed as the outsized police response to the unrest in Ferguson, Missouri, Obama issued an order banning the sale of military surplus equipment such as grenade launchers and armored vehicles to police forces.
Man. Right. Come on. What are we talking about here?
On August 28th of 2017, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced that Trump was scrapping the restrictions to make it easier for police to launch grenades into crowds of unsuspecting.
Come on!
I added that. To make it easier to protect yourselves and protect your communities.
You're going to get somebody triggered.
Grenade launchers? I mean, really? Okay.
Why would local law enforcement need... You know what? We need to call... For that one, we need to call our cop on the beat. We got an inside guy.
Oh, I know several cops. In fact, I know a SWAT team member, actually, which... be a wealth of knowledge there. So, all right, number 3, normalizing relations with Cuba. Denouncing the Obama administration's 2014 decision to normalize diplomatic relations with Cuba, President Trump announced on June 16th of 2017 that he was putting travel and trade restrictions with the island nation back in place. Quote, "The previous administration's easing of restrictions on travel and trade does not help the Cuban people." I like that spin. I'm more like punish them because of the regime that's in there is largely the same regime that pointed the barrel of the gun at America during the Cuban Missile Crisis.
It hasn't changed.
Nothing's really changed, right?
Not at all.
And as far as I'm concerned, they need to be punished for that.
Them hanging on with tooth and nail to the ideologies of the last 60 years installed by Fidel and his family, Castro and the family,
right,
of communism and beholden to a dictator, and your life hasn't gotten better?
No.
You got a problem. You need to change it up.
Right. So I'm with Trump totally on that. And I'll repeat the spin. It was the previous administration's easing of restrictions on travel and trade does not help the Cuban people. They only enrich the Cuban regime. That's absolutely true. So I'm with him on that.
Okay.
Number 4, I think we're on. Paris Climate Agreement. This I am so for. I'm so happy about. The idea. There's a lot of people out there that are moderates that truly believe in climate change. I feel like it's my life mission to get the truth out about climate change, which is that it is a hoax. But let's see what this liberal author has to say about it. Trump has said he believes that climate change is a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. Now, he said that a long time ago. I think he said it either really early in the primary, really early, like right after he started running, or maybe even occurred before that and it was just brought up during the primary.
The fact that he's crediting a communist regime, right or wrong, pretty damn near accurate. It's right. Communist ideology.
So it's a hoax perpetrated by the Chinese. On his June 1st, 2017 decision to walk away from the Paris Climate Agreement signed by his predecessor ultimately left the United States isolated as the only country in the world not on board. I'm going to tell you right now, that's called leadership. That's leadership, bold leadership.
Nikki Haley at the UN this week? You would talk about leadership. She stood up and said, after Donald Trump said Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, we're sending our embassy there, we're establishing it there, y'all need to recognize. The UN 14-1 said they condemned the actions, and Nikki Haley was you see all these men
when
around
you say
the world.
14-1, you're really saying it was unanimous because the one vote was the only one. It was us.
It was
right?
Nikki Haley, and she was the only person that put her arm up.
So literally, it was 100% unanimous, 100%. It was 14-0 against the one vote of Nikki Haley. And so really it happened twice. It was the climate change agreement that we got out of and also the Jerusalem thing. So you know what? We are on the right side of history. We're on the side of righteousness.
Well, and look at this. Look at the rest of the world. Do you want to be like the rest of the world?
Yeah, I think if I had to choose who I wanted to copy, it would be America, especially under the leadership of Donald Trump. All right, so number 5, offshore and Arctic oil drilling. And there's a picture. You won't see this from this far away, but it's a bunch of it's polar bears.
It's people. It's the Furbies.
Yes.
People dressed as polars.
Yeah, this is not grassroots.
That's creepy.
This isn't grassroots because I'm looking at these costumes that these people are wearing. These are like $1,000 costumes. This is
That's
not.
high. Yeah, it's high end.
This is not like we went to Capples, which is our local little Halloween store here.
It's going out of
bought
business.
a $20. Oh no, what?
Oh, not Capples. What's the art studio around the corner that sells rents clothing?
Buchanan's.
Buchanan's went
They're going out of business.
Oh, they're already out. It was 75% off everything.
They had some really high quality costumes because you don't buy them. You couldn't. It'd be too expensive.
You rented them. Yeah. One of the guys got the wizard outfit from Lord of the Rings he said he's paid like $30.
Yeah, but you have to send it back and it has to be clean and all that kind of stuff.
No, he bought it at the closeout. Yeah, it was hundreds of dollars for an outfit like that.
For those of you that, if you've seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut, remember he went to go rent the mask for the party he went to?
Yeah.
That store is kind of like what Buchanan's was. But anyway, so this is not $20 polar bear outfits. This is like $500, $600, $700 outfit. It's beautiful. It looks like a real polar bear. Anyway, making good on the long-held Republican slogan, drill, baby, drill.
They're bringing it back.
Yes.
They're bringing it back.
Trump overturned a 2016 Obama executive order banning oil drilling in parts of the Atlantic Ocean and the Arctic. Quote, "This is a great day for American workers and families," Trump said at a signing ceremony on April 28th, 2017. "And today we're unleashing America's energy and clearing the way for thousands and thousands of high-paying American energy jobs." That's all he's writing about this. Now tell me this doesn't sound like a puff piece.
That sounds really good. I'm looking for the negative to that.
He didn't add anything to that. It's like, all he did was add to it a picture of a bunch of humans dressed as cute polar bears. All right, number 7 or 6, I can't remember which one we're on. Net neutrality. Now, this is interesting. I have a very, very strange and maybe unique and exclusive opinion on net neutrality. And I know there's actually a division between different factions of the right on whether net neutrality should be in place or not. But let's talk about it. Let's hear what David Knowles had to say about that. Obama's rules that guaranteed equal access to the internet, a.k.a. net neutrality.
And that whole thing, all of that, just think of it in your mind. It's a liberal who wants net neutral, meaning everybody is equal across the board, regardless of what you want. And that's always bad. Just
right.
glad you know.
Yeah, just listen to that language. It's typical leftism.
It's notification for show prep.
Okay, cool. We're prepping. Obama's rules that guarantee equal access to the internet, aka net neutrality, were enshrined in 2015 with a vote from. It almost sounds like a civil rights movement.
It is always a right, and it's usually civil. Usually. Until they get out of control, then it's not civil anymore.
It's no longer civil. Enshrined in 2015 with the vote from. Now, check this out. Listen to this language. This was enshrined in 2015 with a vote from. Can anybody care to guess? The FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. Now, who works in the FCC that is an elected official?
It's Obama's people.
Nobody. These are appointed people.
Oh, yeah. You said elected. I'm like, no. Yeah, right.
Why are they
He
voting?
jammed them in there.
Yeah, and it's like that with any administration. But the point is that this is a department of the government that is totally, completely, 100% jam-packed with people that are appointed. They're not elected officials.
So you're saying the way he's writing this is making the reader feel like the FCC had a vote. And that they're being, they weren't being biased.
They did vote.
Partisan.
The problem is that why are we being represented by people who are not duly elected in any kind of a democratic process?
Shouldn't be.
So he's kind of like, I mean, I love the way he worded this because I'm with Trump on this, the way he worded it. So enshrined in 2015 with a vote from the FCC, but new FCC commissioners are appointed by whichever president is serving, and when Trump took office, he installed new leadership, which voted on December 14th to scrap the policy, opening up the internet to what critics fear will result in a tiered system of information and entertainment. Now, I will tell you this. He's pretty accurate here when he says what critics fear. They're basically taking absolute worst case scenario and not taking into consideration any other possibility. And that's what the critics are doing. They're like, if you scrap this net neutrality, you're going to end up with this. And they take worst case scenario.
And check it out. The net neutrality, when the FCC came out and actually spoke about it, the thing is that if you have a lot of money and you have a big business and you need a lot of computers and a lot of service, a lot of internet and a lot of bandwidth, and you need that, and you got the money for it, you should be allowed to have it. Net neutrality pretty much says that me, Brian Smith, doing a radio show, Smith Radio, out of my house, we would not be allowed to have 200 mega bandwidth because the guy across the street can't afford that. And it's too much money, and everybody, there should be a cap.
Yeah, why should you have more bandwidth than the guy across the street that's surfing movies on Netflix?
So there's one choice, just like in communism. There's only one car. There's one choice. So we love multiple choices. That's first and foremost on net neutrality. The whole second part of that is when the critics say, oh, it's going to run amok. It's the wild, wild west again. The FCC did come out and say, there are rules and laws in place that keep different businesses that provide the internet from discriminating. So there's already laws against discrimination. I mean, come on. Who there is listening to Smith Radio right now and think that there are no laws against discrimination?
Yeah, they're
out there. Laws are out there. And the example that the critics threw out there was, well, T-Mobile does business with this other provider or does business with this other company, and the area that they're in, and they don't like the competition, and so T-Mobile purposely slows down their customers. And what? Why would they on purposely do that ever?
My personal worst case scenario was where they say, well, they'll offer as the lowest, cheapest package access to only certain websites. Like, for instance, if you want your social media package, they offer Facebook only, meaning you wouldn't even have access to certain other websites. I find that extremely hard to believe that would ever happen. Like, for instance, if Brian started up his own social media for the lowest tier, the cheapest tier, maybe you're offered Facebook, but you don't even have access to Brian's social media site.
But here's the thing. The Pandora's box is open. We have access to way too much stuff. There's nothing you can't have on the internet.
Right.
For them to reverse that and then chop it up into packages, nobody would stand for it. It would be holy hell.
Yeah.
Here's what it would be like. And for those of you mothers that are seasoned, have been around for a while, you may have heard this story. But back in the 70s, the federal government, the American government said, ladies, housewives, because you were allowed to call them housewives back then. Housewives. Homemakers. We are now going to switch over to the metric system, and by the, in 3 months, on this day, everything on the shelves, all the cups, all the spoons and the teaspoons, they will all be replaced with metric.
Liters. Yeah.
Hey, guess what happened, folks?
Housewives said, hell no.
They went out and bought everything that was cups and teaspoons, and they refused to buy it.
So they could use that for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
it
don't work.
Did I ever tell you about my friend from England?
I didn't know you had a friend.
He's a homemaker, literally. He's a builder. He's a builder.
Oh, I thought maybe he was a man wife.
No, he's a construction one. He's a carpenter, and he decided when he came to America, he's going to, he's going to, do his work and save up money, and he's going to build his own house. He showed up to get his permits. His entire blueprint was all in metric. And
they laughed him off. I'm sure. No.
They couldn't deny him because they didn't understand all the measurements.
They probably had to do all the recalculations in inches.
What do people do? What do people do? They said, it looks right.
No!
Yes! He said
Sweet.
he was cracking on the whole process because he was like, because I walked through his house like a fun house. Like, you don't even know. Like, there's like hallways where you're like, what's this? Like, there's like secret passageways and all this crazy stuff.
It's whimsical.
It's very whimsical. There's like, you got a window between your dining room and your kitchen. What is it? It's crazy. But he's like, yeah, it's all metric. I'm like, wow. But yeah, they literally were so, at first you could tell they were trying to crack down and make sure that all the measurements, the clearances were correct and everything. And they just got exhausted and said, all right, I guess this is all good.
Because when you're installing a toilet, it has to be 3 feet in front of the toilet. It has to be open. When you're doing a door that walks out to a patio, it has to be 4 foot by 4 foot square landing.
Right.
The railings that go around have to be 36 inches high.
And he was like, it's a meter. It's good enough. And he was like, meter, that's about 3 feet, right? It's okay. All right.
And then the stiles, the bars between the railing, they have to be exactly no more than 4 inches apart. That's so a baby's head can't squint through there.
Right.
4 inch.
So on with the countdown.
Yeah, folks, and we're talking about this liberal psycho Yahoo News Group media. This article
they came out with a puff piece about Trump. Apparently,
and we're talking about everything positive in 2017.
I mean, I'm taking it as a puff piece. I'm reading it. I'm like so expecting to get triggered, but meanwhile, I'm just like, yeah, you right on. So we're on number 7 of the top 10 things, and here we go. The Clean Water Rule. These are executive orders that are being reversed. They are Obama executive orders that are being reversed by Trump. On February 28th, 2017, President Trump began his assault on Obama's executive order that expanded federal oversight of pollution in the nation's rivers, streams, and lakes. Now, that sounds really bad, but come on, people. The government has been using protection of the environment as a smokescreen to just take control over all industry. So,
that was something else that happened a couple of weeks ago when Donald Trump gave the land back to the state of Utah.
We haven't gotten to that yet. We're getting.
Is that on the countdown?
It's on the countdown.
I got triggered. Sorry.
Yes.
I see. I didn't even see the article yet.
Right. So Trump's first step was to order the EPA to, quote, review and reconsider the restrictions. Then in June, the administration officially rolled back the environmental protections for over half the nation's tributaries. So that's the end of that paragraph, and it makes it sound like, wow, he is literally crapping in our streams. But
we're all going to be drinking water like, what was it, city in Michigan?
Oh, Detroit?
No.
That's pretty bad. You don't want to be drinking. Oh, Flint,
Michigan,
yeah.
and then Cleveland. They set the lake on fire.
Yeah, so literally the lakes are going to be on fire. So that's what they're trying to paint that picture. But the reason I wasn't triggered by this paragraph was because I know what the government's doing with these regulations. I know what they're doing. I know what Obama was trying to do. Obama was just trying to take over the entire world with executive orders and install a communist regime in America, which would be totally eliminating freedoms and liberties for individual citizens. So that's why I was really happy to hear this. So, number 8, caps on greenhouse gas emissions at power plants. This goes hand in hand. I don't think this author realizes. But earlier in the article, he talked about the climate change hoax.
Right.
Well, after reading that we know that climate change is a hoax, talking about caps on greenhouse gas emissions seems like a good thing to remove.
Yes.
So in a way, the way he put this step by step in a list, he's already made the case that this is a good thing. All right, so let's read it. Keeping a campaign promise to the local coal industry, Trump signed an executive order on March 28, 2017, intended to begin dismantling Obama's clean power plan. So we're going to a dirty power plant, apparently.
Well, it's got to be dirty. You don't want it to be clean.
Right. Which required power plants to reduce carbon emissions. Well, we know that carbon is an element, right? And when they talk about carbon emissions, what they're really talking about is CO2. Well, as I speak to you, I am showering this microphone with CO2. So I am polluting this room we're speaking in right now with CO2.
CO2 everywhere.
It's not a pollutant. It's just a gas. It's actually a trace element that's required in our atmosphere in order for plants to live and survive and grow.
And this was months and months ago. This was this year, 2017. There was an article that came up that talked about how trees are actually maybe causing more pollution in inner cities because
because it's holding it in. They're completely oblivious to the fact that the process of a tree growing is sequestering the carbon. Real quick, I'll just throw this out there for those of you that didn't hear that episode. When a tree grows, how much do you think a tree weighs? It's like thousands and thousands of pounds.
Well, there's an empty hole underneath it where it absorbs all the dirt.
Right. So the question
is, it's made out of dirt.
If you know that matter cannot be created or destroyed, and you see this ton tree that's up 60 feet into the sky, if you really stop and think about it, its growth, its existence should have left a divot in the ground where the tree's growing out of.
Well, what about like the redwoods? They're 300 feet high? I don't know, a couple hundred?
Yeah, 300.
300 feet high?
Plus.
I mean,
some of the tallest redwoods are 300 plus.
There ain't nothing in the ground.
And they're like 20 feet around. They're so huge.
There can't be nothing underneath it now.
Well, no, you would think that all the roots would be sucking out the solids of the ground to create the tree, and then you would end up with a divot in the ground from where the tree grew. Right. Why is that never the case? Why is it that there's never a divot around a tree that has grown up into the sky? Well, it's because the tree isn't made out of the dirt. The tree is made out of carbon. Where does the tree get the carbon to make itself? It's from the air. It's literally taking carbon dioxide from the air, and carbon dioxide is CO2, right? It takes the carbon, it makes more tree, and then it releases the O2 in the form of breathable oxygen. Yeah. That's how a tree works.
And we work in tangent with it together.
Yeah.
We work together.
So we suck in the O2 from that the tree released. We breathe out carbon dioxide, and then the tree uses the carbon we breathed out in order to grow more tree. Right. So CO2 is not a pollutant. It's an integral part of the ecosystem, a balanced ecosystem. So us burning coal, which, by the way, is leftover plants from thousands of years, we're just giving more food for plants around the world. And for you to take that away from us is starving the world, because plants provide the sustenance which we eat, right?
Correct.
All right. So anyway, I digress. So let's see. Carbon. Trump's new energy independence order also reversed a ban on coal leasing on federal lands, loosening restrictions on methane emissions. Several states immediately filed a lawsuit against the administration, claiming the move endangered the health of citizens. Really? The health of citizens? It's CO2. It's CO2. You know what? I'm gonna do a countersuit suing them for endangering the health of plants. Seriously. All right. Number 9. On with the countdown. This one's a long distance dedication.
Oh, man.
The scope of national monuments, which is what you just brought up a second ago.
Right.
All right. Applauded by industry and decried by environmentalists.
Oh, Lord.
Trump signed an executive order on April 26th that swept away Obama's use of the 1906 Antiquities Act to protect federal lands from oil drilling, mining, and other development. This is actually unconstitutional. That 2006 Act,
right?
The federal government is not supposed to do that.
And I know. For years, I used to listen to Glenn Beck back in the day, and for years and years and years, he'd rail against the federal government stealing the land, federal government coming in, the federal government, and he's right. He's right. He's got a little kooky lately, but he's right. The federal government, the way our country is structured, the federal government has zero rights and zero ability to obtain individual states' land.
Yeah, could you imagine? That would be like your local government coming in and saying, we're gonna rent a room from you, but instead of renting it, we're just gonna take it.
Right.
And you're gonna could you imagine? Could you imagine, like, literally, yeah, we're gonna take this bedroom and we're gonna use it, and you can't have it. You can't put furniture in there. You can't even walk in there and use it for anything. This is the local government, our little.
You wouldn't put up with that.
Yeah, totally.
So why would a state put up with the federal government coming in and acquisitioning their property?
Yeah, and that's what they've done with this Antiquities Act. And apparently, Donald Trump signed an executive order that swept away the use. And Obama, even though the Antiquities Act has been around since 1906, Obama used that act himself. So this is something Obama did during his time to protect federal lands from oil drilling, mining, and other development. And Trump said, today we're putting the states back in charge, he said at the signing. In December, the administration announced it would reduce the size of the Obama-created Bears Ears National Monument by 85%, and the Bill Clinton designated Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument by 50%. And that's the end of that. That's the end of that paragraph. Like, They literally thought, that's it. We've really hurt Trump on this paragraph. No, not really. I think you actually gave him a puff piece there.
I'm doing a really good job.
Number 10. We're at the end of our countdown. Bathroom protections for transgender students. For them to end on this is really putting the icing on the cake for the Trump puff piece, really.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is so ridiculous. When this came out, we were just distraught because we're like, how is this? Our country's gone. Our country's gone when we have to do these kinds of things. But anyway.
Hold on. And for the federal government, the overreaching federal government to enact a sweeping law for all states to abide by in this sense, just like with Roe v. Wade, shouldn't even have been. It's all individual. Each state is individual. Should have never been a federal case. Should have never gone to the feds. Just like this, transgender bathrooms, it's not a federal thing. It's a state-by-state local thing.
You know, I think they did it right by having a family bathroom, which is
Yes!
like you could take the whole family in there.
And I love it
men,
because you
women.
got all kinds of elbow room.
Well, I don't know how much Brian had to deal with this. I'm sure he had to deal with it a little bit. But when our children were like 2, 3, 4 years old, I mean, I have a daughter. Brian has 2 older daughters.
But when both my daughters were 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, they're a year apart. So between the ages of 2 and 5, you go into Kroger's, you go in the grocery store, you immediately have to go to the bathroom at least 2 or 3 times.
Well, and here's the thing. In the past, it was never an issue because mommy was always there.
Yeah.
But when mommy was working during the day and I was on the off season because I had seasonal work, I would take her to the zoo and whatnot in the off season. And so I didn't have mommy with me. And here she is, 3, 4 years old, and she's got to use the bathroom. And there were a lot of places that didn't have a family bathroom that I have to take her into the men's bathroom. And I'm just like, you know, you open up one of the stalls and you're just hoping and praying that's clean. And when it's not, you're like, oh, let's move to the next one.
Right.
You move to the next one and it's just, oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. Then you go to a place like the zoo actually did have family bathrooms and that was nice. Why can't we just leave it at that instead of having, so what do we have now? We have men's, women's, family, and then, we got to add a fourth one,
No.
transgender?
Remove all the signs, put bathroom on them, and on the inside, put a lock.
Right, so that's it. By
Done.
the way,
Case solved.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, their museum, open to the public, whatever.
Free.
Yeah. They have a family bathroom, and I swear you've got to see this to believe this. It is a bathroom big enough to have a large event and that be the bathroom. There's multiple rooms, whole bunch of stalls. There's the stalls, and then there's the urinals, a whole wall of urinals, bunch of sinks. But because they designated that to be the family bathroom, there's a lock inside the main door.
So you get that all to yourself?
You get the whole thing to yourself.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's kind of funny because like you open it up and there's somebody waiting for you and you're like, this is a huge bathroom. But anyway.
It's family friendly.
So 1 month into his term, Trump rescinded an Obama directive that allowed students to use school bathrooms that match their self-identified gender.
See, they're twisting and warping the minds of youths, young.
It has
young
to be
youth.
students.
It has to be little, young, impressionable children because we see this for what it is.
Because we're not stupid enough. And I'm not trying to say that students are stupid.
They don't have the real world experience, and they have compassion for their friends, and their teachers said so. This teacher that a very close person to our family has a young boy who's 5 and 6, has a little bit of he's working with some things. He's working through some things. Okay.
Mm-hmm, right.
On some mad stuff, like whatever. The new teacher that he has told all the children, when you're upset, you do not scream in my room.
Okay.
You don't yell, you don't scream, you don't hit, you don't push. When you're mad, you stomp your feet.
Okay.
So now all the kids are stomping their feet. And he goes home.
Stop.
He goes home, he stomps his feet. So he literally puts on a tantrum at the house by stomping his feet.
Oh, that's when there's a teachable moment there. When you're like, I understand that you're supposed to stomp your feet in your classroom when you get upset. But we're not in your classroom.
Right. See, that would be the perfect thing. Yeah. And so this transgender bathroom thing, the teachers have the respect of the children mostly. And if the teacher, if it's authoritarian, I'm the teacher, you do what I say. If you feel, you do what I say. If you feel gay, that's okay.
Okay.
Go to this bathroom and you go to this one. We need separation. The kids are going to believe it, and it's all malarkey.
Wow.
Sorry, folks. Sorry.
Well, Trump's rationale for the reversal was that states, rather than federal government, should decide how to handle the question as to what the heck gender you are.
I don't know. What the heck gender are you?
American Federation of Teachers President Randy Weingarten decried the move, telling the Associated Press that it, quote, tells trans kids it's okay with Trump administration and the Department of Education for them to be abused and harassed at schools for being trans. I'm reading it directly. That was a direct quote. I find it really problematic to call it abuse to say that they have to use the bathroom of their plumbing. I don't know. I mean, if you
have plumbing that a man would have,
right.
And and you have to do a water break, and there are two different sets of stalls. One you could sit down, or one you could stand up. Yeah. If you're a woman, you may never have seen these things, but in the men's bathroom, there's a stand up for us.
Yeah, you can stand up
to go run in, never sit down, run in, and run back out.
And it's hard to pee when you're running.
It is. Unless you get some good practice. And so, anyways, if you have that particular type of plumbing, you would be probably catered to go into a men's bathroom. You are catered to go into a men's bathroom.
And I get it. They're trying to say to everybody that I'm a woman, and they don't want to have to reveal that they're not a woman by having the indignity of going into a boy's bathroom when they appear to be a girl because of the long hair, because of the makeup, because of the dress.
Do you remember Jenny Jones?
Jenny Jones?
Jenny Jones. I kind of had a little bit of a crush on her back in the day, but she had a talk show. She had a talk show, Jenny Jones show.
All right.
She was the one that got sued because a guy brought another guy on as a secret admirer, and the guy was gay, and he went out and he killed him after the show.
Oh, God.
That was the end of her show, literally. But anyway.
Oh, I do remember
Yeah,
that.
she would have these crazy things on. And this is what I was learning in my early 20s. Jenny Jones had a girl on to confront her. Oh, sorry. A boy on to confront her girlfriend about a secret. So they'd been dating for like 6, 7, 8 months. And they're in high school. And the dude, the boyfriend, revealed to his girlfriend of 6 months in high school, emotions running around, that he is really a she. And she would tape her chest down and everything. Folks, I'm telling you, to normalize this behavior, you are tragically destroying other people's lives. That girl was mortified and now has to question who she is, come to grips with whatever's going on in her mind, the identity crisis that she had because this tranny had an identity crisis and wanted to go ahead and lie about it. I'm done, man. I'm done. Do not push your psychobabble on me. I don't want it. Don't want it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that, but you know what I'm saying? Can you feel me?
Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if she feels like a man, and I mean, there are people that are gay. I mean, what are you going to do? I always thought, you talk about trans people. I always felt like, from what I've learned about the gay mentality, the psychology, what's going on in their head, that a gay man is a woman trapped in a man's body because they're attracted to the opposite
Unless
sex.
you're Bruce Jenner, then you're a lesbian trapped in a woman's body.
Yeah, see, that's
where... Do you know that, right?
I think I remember
He
him.
loves women.
Yes. So
he does not like men.
So he's a lesbian trapped in a man's body.
It's called a mental disorder. It
Right.
really is a psychological mental disorder.
That's my conclusion too. My conclusion, and if you're listening to this and you're gay, I'm really sorry if this offends you, because we don't want
to offend you.
Right, all your other mental faculties, as far as, your logic, intelligence, your ability to get A's on tests and learn everything that everybody else learns is all top notch. It's all there. But there's something obviously wrong with your brain when you're a man and you have all the men parts and everything, but you have all the, not just the attractions, but also some of the preferences that you would see only or exclusively in the female.
Right. And I don't think we're not blaming anybody. Yeah. There's no blame being put on you. I'm just saying it's just like anything else that you got. Either you fix it or not, because in society, in evolution, in a sense, where evolution not the right word, but where we procreate
well, just the way we're designed. I mean, we're obviously not designed.
It doesn't.
Yeah. We would
don't work.
Yeah. If everybody was gay, we would be extinct in one generation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Minus some medical intervention.
You always got the medical field.
So, I don't know. If I was gay, I would admit that there was something wrong with me, because it would be pretty sad for me to have to accept the fact that I'm not going to have any children, barring doing something that makes me want to throw up in my mouth. And that's what they've actually, I've had a gay friend tell me that the idea of having sex with somebody of the opposite sex makes them want to throw up.
I cannot tell you, and I lived out in LA for 10 years, folks. What you just said is exactly what I've heard for 10 straight years.
Right. So that's obviously something, there's a couple wires just not quite right in the head. And I don't think that's something that should be considered an insult or whatever. It's just, it is what it is.
And it's not, and we're talking about tranny bathrooms, it is not a civil right that you're tranny, you deserve bath. There's no civil rights there. But the left will make it a civil right issue because they saw how well it worked with the civil rights era that the Republicans helped to force through. And they said,
we got to make victims.
Wow, the Republicans did a great job with this civil rights thing. Let's get everything we want to jam down their throats. We'll jam it down their throats with a civil rights tagline.
And that's social engineering right there. Yeah.
So did you hear about who's we're talking, folks, this is 2017 wrap up. This is Smith Radio, military veteran talk radio during the night. If this is the first time you've been on the show, my name is Brian Smith and this is
Carrie Smith.
And in the 90s, I was in the Air Force. In the 90s, Carrie was in the Marine Corps. And I would say probably around just a little bit after Obama's reign and era, well, Carrie and I got in a little business together in 06, 07. Obama came to power, and we had a lot to talk about on the phone, and the whole thing with Mitt Romney in the run-up. And so we would be on the phone for hours and hours on end talking about politics and life, decisions, life, everything. And one day, 4 years ago, we said, hey, you know what? We need to document the demise of America. We need to record this for our children for maybe 1,000 years from now. Somebody finds this recording and says, this is what really happened to America, play by play.
Right.
For truly true.
Yeah, because I didn't think that it was being done sufficiently. I was also thinking, too, even though, you got your Rush Limbaughs and all that kind of stuff that are doing this kind of stuff, he had turned 65 at the time.
That's right.
He was the same age as my dad, and my dad had already retired. And I'm thinking,
how much longer is he going to be?
Rush is going to retire. I mean, if not in a couple of years, soon. It could be at any time, really. And I felt like he was like this lone voice, and I thought somebody's got to grab the torch. And I felt like a part of us doing this was, just us deciding, well, if somebody's got to grab the torch, I'll grab it and see what happens. And so we did that, but we were also doing this on the phone, like Brian just said, and I felt like we were losing some great ideas and points to the ether. Because we would have these awesome conversations that were really interesting to me intellectually, and I just knew that as soon as we got off the phone, it was as if it never even happened.
When it's gone, and you could only remember so much of what you talked about, and it's gone. But we started documenting this, and then lo and behold, we were diverted. We were completely diverted. Donald Trump showed up.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
It said, "Oh, hell no!
This is getting interesting."
I'm gonna put on we got to put the e-brake on this thing. This ship ain't going down this road.
Right.
And lo and behold, 2017, one full year of Donald Trump as president, taking the office. His inauguration was January 20th, 2017. First day in office, January 21st. So from then till now, wrapping up this year, the accomplishments of Donald Trump, I'm telling you folks, are that of maybe even more than, and this is not me saying this, other people are saying this, that more than possibly Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, look at this. And this is just what you just abbreviated.
Yeah, this is the minor list. It's a. Why is everybody all upset about the tax bill passing? Why are the liberals? This was posted on Twitter. I didn't make this up. This came to me. I didn't have the idea. I apologize, but I think Mike Cernovich retweeted it, and that's how I saw it. Why are they so violently opposed to Donald Trump's huge tax cut? On CBS News this morning, they accidentally interviewed three families from three parts of the country, and at the end of the interview, with an independent tax accountant who redid their taxes of 2016, all of them, even the husband and wife with no kids that earn $300,000 a year, all of them get a tax break. All of them are better off than they were last year.
And that just goes to show you that's mathematical proof that the government can't afford it.
Right. So if you take a look at the screen, what you will see is, for those of you who listen to audio, I just now put up a map of America. And this map of America is Ronald Reagan's re-election against Walter Mondale in 1984. Earlier, before the election, right after his first election in 1980, Ronald Reagan passed a huge sweeping tax reform. And in 1984, in his re-election, Ronald Reagan won every single state except one, Minnesota. Minnesota, which beyond me.
Seems like things haven't changed much in the past 30, 40 years with Minnesota.
But anyway. Right. And so what's going to happen? This is what they're fearing. I've talked about this all year. The greatest fear that the Rhino Republicans have, that the Democrats have, that mainstream media has, Obama's legacy, the Clinton legacy, their number one fear is the success of Donald Trump. If he is successful in doing half, and we said this before the election, if he gets elected, he does half, a fraction of what he's claimed to want to do, it's going to go through the roof. And I know for those of you who have been watching the scopes and listening to some of the things we've been talking about, this has been the happiest week of my life. I'm just telling you. When Trump got up during a speech he gave this past week, he said the tax cuts will be rocket fuel for this economy. If you don't think that, look at the 100%. Economy now.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, it's already been going, well, you got the Dow Jones going through the roof. You got all kinds of stuff going through the roof. And then manufacturing's up. They talk about unemployment down. Average wages are up.
Yes, wages are going up faster than prices. That's what I read about. Wages are going up faster than prices.
Huge. That's huge. Yes. That's like the key measurement, right? Like I never really thought of it that way. I've never really heard of that. Whoever came up with that measurement, obviously brilliant, because that's what it really boils down to. First of all, if prices are going up, that tells me that the companies that are making those products are increasing their revenue.
Right.
But if the average wages are going up even more, that's equivalent to everybody getting a raise, because now your dollar goes further. So you're getting more, but then you're able to buy more with the same amount of money of which you're getting more of anyway. So it's like getting a double raise. It's like doubling down on the raise.
Oh, it slipped my mind, folks. There's a company that because of the tax cuts, have just now said that they're giving out $1,000 bonuses to thousands of employees.
Yeah, now I think that several companies are following suit.
And you know what? From Never Trumper, was it Newsweek or the Never Trumper thing?
I don't even know.
Bald head, old dude, white hair. He's always railing against Trump. Anyways, he claims to be a conservative. He's not.
National Review?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Came out and said, well, if they could give all those bonuses away to employees, I guess they didn't need the money. They didn't need the tax breaks anyhow.
Oh my gosh, this is just a fundamental misunderstanding of how economies work. That's really sad.
Okay, so who is raising? Did you hear about the raising of taxes? Who's raising taxes?
I don't know.
Do you know?
No. Is it the states?
I will tell you who's raising taxes.
I'm telling you right now, we're going to write fairer rules for the middle class, and we are going to raise taxes on the middle class.
What?
We are going to raise taxes on the middle class.
We are going to raise taxes.
That's hilarious.
That's not taken out of context. That for real. That happened during the campaign. That for real.
And I remember there being the theory, if you will, that she misspoke and she meant to say lower the taxes on the middle class. But I think it was a Freudian slip. And if those of you that don't know what a Freudian slip is, it's where you accidentally say what you really mean.
Right.
When you didn't mean to say what you actually meant to say.
You tell on yourself.
Yeah, you tell on yourself. So that's a Freudian slip there.
And so this tax thing is going to be enormous. Folks, we're going to wrap this up early because we've got a lot of things to do with the family today, but I don't want to forget about what the breaking news that's going on right now with McCabe, FBI McCabe wanting to retire in 3 months. We've been screaming about it. Our folks, Charles Payne, I don't know if
Krauthammer? What are you talking about?
some of our other folks on Twitter that are Thomas Payne. A lot of folks on Twitter have been railing against this for the past year. This McCabe his wife took $700,000 from the Clinton campaign during the investigation into her email scandal. We talked about this last year.
Somebody's got to go to jail for this stuff.
So this dude announces he's going to retire in 3 months. My Donald Trump? Oh, no, you ain't.
Yeah, didn't he? He actually tweeted out that in 90 days he gets full 100% everything benefits for the rest of his life, I guess, for retirement.
Right.
If he can reach the finish line. And the finish line is like 90 days away.
Right.
He's got to get to the 90-day point. He should fire him on day 89. Like literally fire him on day 89. Denying him a chance for the full. And
all these lefties screaming, Trump's going to fire Mueller. Trump's going to fire Mueller. Look, he's going to fire. No, in the past, the media was able to get Bush to do things by the mantra and shape the news and shape the way that Bush would react or what Bush would do this way, and they would say this and he would tiptoe around. It ain't happening no more.
He really should make sure that he's fired. I don't know if he does it directly or finds the person to do it, but I think that would be the ultimate justice if he were to fire him on day 89. Where the 90th day he's eligible for all of his benefits for the rest of his life, the retirement, blah, blah. Right.
And Stork, FBI agent Stork that was fired, that needs to be investigated as well. Never Trumper hating on Trump. Part of the investigation for the FBI in the email scandal with Hillary Clinton and part of involved in the investigation, the fake Trumped up, fake Russiagate, and he's a Clinton supporter. Awful. And now the Department of Justice, Orr, and his CIA agent wife working for Fusion GPS.
This is a huge scandal.
This is the deep, folks. It is being exposed. Obama allowing Hezbollah, a terrorist organization, allowing Hezbollah to come into America with cocaine and drug running and gun running to Mexican drug lords. This is ISIS. This is Islam. This is the terrorist fraction of Islam. And Obama says, no. You got to let those guys go, because if you let those guys go, we can get this deal done with Iran. He has, in 8 years, I've been screaming to anyone who could listen, he has picked the wrong one every time.
Well, I think it's all a part of the master plan to destroy America.
It is absolutely crystal clear that is exactly what Barack Obama and his cronies had attempted to do, was to destroy everything that we know of that is the beauty of America. And speaking about that, James Woods, we were playing that clip from Hillary Clinton, I want to raise the tax on the middle class. James Woods on Twitter, if you're not following me, you absolutely should. Real James Woods, just a great all-American Trump-supporting man. Hillary Clinton tweeted out earlier today about supporting and fundraising. Hillary Clinton talking about fundraising, supporting different organizations, and James Woods tweeted back to her. She said, "Onward Together is ending 2017. Onward Together is her campaign, ending in 2017 by supporting 6 more incredible organizations fighting to protect voting rights." And that really means fighting to keep illegals voting for Democrats.
Voter fraud in general.
Right. And so James Woods retweeted back, "Should you be packing for Argentina? ? Hashtag uranium1."
Wow. Yikes.
I'll just say, go to Bolivia, where Sundance and Butch Cassidy's Sundance Kid run off to Bolivia,
Or Mike Tyson. Remember, he said he's gonna slink off into Bolivia. He was supposed to say oblivion, but he said Bolivia. But anyway,
I give him a man. I give him a man a face. It's all good. It's all good. So no, this has been a huge, huge year. 2017 is going to be even bigger, folks. There are so many great things that are happening. Keep posted on our scopes because we talk about individual topics throughout the week on the individual scopes. If you look on, if you're on Periscope right now, you can see the handles. Carrie is at Smith Radio, SMYTH Radio, and I am at Brian P. as in Paul Smith on Twitter.
There's two scopes that I'm going to do this week at some point, so look out for it. Make sure you follow me on Periscope. The one is, I keep on getting people asking me, are you going to do some sort of a report on the interview that I did with the bus driver in Las Vegas?
Yes. Well, tell everybody, you went to Vegas.
Yeah, I went to Vegas. I talked about it last episode, and the one before that, we did the show from Vegas.
Oh yeah, last Sunday. If you catch last Sunday's show, Kerry was in Vegas. And
was that last Sunday?
It was last. And we did split screen.
Yeah, so we did split screen last week, and because of technical difficulties, and we had to cut the show short. I wasn't able to really properly give you the total rundown of my interview with. It was Richard Kuna, who was the famed bus driver from the Las Vegas shooting. I did a 3.5 hour interview with him, and to be perfectly honest with you, it was less of an interview and more of a let's hang out, have a whole freaking pot of coffee, and just chill and just talk about everything for 3.5 hours. And the only reason it wasn't longer was because I realized that our show was about to end.
Right.
So I didn't when we actually did the show last week. I literally was running from the interview to the show, so I didn't really properly get a chance to report on that interview, and I will do that in a scope this week. And also, we have some great things, and me personally, I have some great things to say about cryptocurrencies that I want to...
I keep forgetting we need to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, and I'll do it in a scope because there's so many people saying a lot of things that just absolutely... Like, I can type a whole... 3 paragraphs to somebody in response to something that they say to me when really it needs to be scoped because everybody needs to know this information. So
this week, folks, if you've been following me, you know I am off the entire week. I don't go back to work till Wednesday.
Maybe we'll do it from from here.
Maybe we could do it from the show.
Man. You guys let us know. Let us know if
maybe I'll put some graphics together while you talk about it, and we can post graphics or even have you watch us as we log in or what websites to log into.
Yeah, let us know if you want us to do the show here together just like this in this format, or if you want us to do individual scopes or whatnot. But yeah, we can do it here.
And you can check out the new backdrop to the studio. This is high tech, folks. Look, it's high tech. I'm pointing at a green
I
screen.
know. I'm like, it looks like
we
fabric
don't
to
know
me.
it,
It's
but what
fabric.
you all see is high tech.
So Brian has to remind me not to show up to the studio wearing anything green.
No, never,
or else
never.
I'll be invisible.
No, you got to wear black.
Well, anything
dark.
other than green.
Yeah.
Anything other than green.
Hey, don't wear blue. I might change it up and use a blue screen. Why would you do that, Brian? I don't know. Keep it interesting.
Keep it on our toes. In case I show up with a green suit.
Right.
Like I look like the Riddler or something over here.
Oh, good times, man. So, yeah, and folks, honestly, this is a great year, a great season. There's so many things that are going on, so much that is happening. Mortgages are at a 7-time high. Dakota Pipeline, Keystone Pipeline. Nobody's talking about, that's what nobody's talking about. Did you guys hear about Ben Carson?
No, I haven't actually.
Put in charge of HUD?
Yeah, I knew about that, but is there new news on him?
Do you know he found some money?
No.
$50 billion.
Was it in like a duffel bag or in a
It was-
pallet?
It was being misappropriated to HUD. It shouldn't be. He said, look, Trump, I found his money. You need to get rid of it.
Well, what were they doing with it?
Think about it. Obama's peeps was getting it.
Oh my gosh.
It's just under the rug, man.
It isn't even being reported?
The greatest things that have happened in
50
2017, greatest things happened in
Wow.
2017. My Donald Trump.
This is why he can lower taxes for everybody. Because you got people like Ben Carson who are like, hey, Donnie boy.
Right?
Could you use like an extra $50 billion? Probably.
Probably. I could find some. You need. Oh, this is my per diem? Oh, okay. So who do I give it? I know it's my per diem.
It's.
But who do I give it to?
Petty cash.
Okay, so who do I give it to then? I know it's mine. Who am I supposed to give it to?
Dump it into the treasury so we could lower taxes. How about that?
Yes.
Goodness.
The other thing, folks. Food stamp usage under Obama. We talked about this, railed against it. Food stamp usage went up 70% underneath Obama. Trump.
They were advertising it.
Yeah, Trump. It's falling. Food stamp usage is falling under Donald Trump because people are working. You know, everybody complains about work. Oh, I got to work. But let me tell you something, folks. I was unemployed for a little over a year. And for that time that I was unemployed for a year, I had a mental disability. Problems started. I lost my confidence. I lost my man card.
Yeah.
Things went away. And when I went
true.
back into the workforce to get a job again, like I was applying for like a warehouse forklift worker or something.
Right.
I took a job driving my truck for a chiropractor who's scamming people. And I'm like,
I remember when you tell me about
like,
that.
man, what am I doing here? I'm a machinist. I need to get back in the shop. And so I just had to have that paradigm shift get back. So my whole point is that other men and women who feel like that they've been working all their lives and now they're out of work, making that shift to get back into work, they realize that even though you don't like work, there's a satisfaction to getting it done, to making it happen, to having that paycheck, to buying those clothes, to buying those shoes, to buying that house, to doing that stuff. It's just a good, solid feeling, and people are taking a big bite out of it. Anyway, so QE4, for the first quarter of Donald Trump, what was I looking at? The GDP for the first quarter under Donald Trump was a little low, wasn't quite 3%, around 2-something% growth. Second quarter and third quarter, 3% growth. The first time that GDP was revised up since 2007.
Yeah, because they were cooking the books under Obama. They would come out with a number that was bad, but not quite as bad as they were expecting. And then like 3 months later, you would hear a little blurb, usually on Fox News or some conservative outlet, where they would say, oh, you remember that number that we thought was pretty bad but not that bad 3 months ago? Well, they revised it. They revised it way, way, way worse than it was. And now it's the opposite. Now they come out with a number and you're like, wow, that's pretty good.
They revised Donald Trump's third quarter GDP growth number.
Yeah, and it went even better. So it went from, wow, that was pretty good to, what? It's even better.
Not only that, but it came out as 3.0%. And the media was screaming, no, it's 2.7, 2.8, 2.9. This is wrong. This is wrong. Well, they revised it. 3.3%. Just keep going up. Just keep getting better.
Awesome.
I'm telling you, all the 800 regulations being removed under Donald Trump. 2018 is going to be an enormous year. Republicans are going to hold the House. They're going to hold the Senate because when things start going good, people don't want to change. They want to tinker with it. Things are going good. We got to keep in. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. Anything else you got? I know it's right at the mark that we need to end.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about real quick?
I think that's I like that we've focused on the accomplishments for the major things. I like that we were able to quote a liberal article from Yahoo. I mean, it's been a great year. I really feel like I think this next year, that 2017 was really all about the anti-Trump, never Trumpers, Trump haters, Democrats, liberals, communists, whatever you want to call them. Every single thing that was done was either obstructed or if it actually happened, it was going to be spun in a negative light. But we haven't seen the actual fruits of all this labor because when you implement these policies, it takes time to actually see what changes. So in 2018, I feel like we're going to start seeing the actual improvement that all of these policies that we fought tooth and nail for, that Trump had to fight tooth and nail for, you're going to see that stuff being implemented. And so 2018 is, you think, all that was so great about 2017 was that policies finally were passing, bills were passing, things were being implemented, but you don't really, it's just not been enough time to actually see the positive results of it. 2018 is going to be us talking about, oh, guess what's awesome now because of what happened in 2017. So now you think things were great in 2017. We're actually going to see real results now. So I'm really looking forward to 2018.
Start feeling it. Just start feeling the results. Start feeling the money coming in. Oh, that was something else. A guy that I worked, an older gentleman that's getting ready to retire that I work with, he said that he heard a report that if you had your money, your retirement money, your 401k, go back and look at your 401k right now and compare it to the beginning of 2017, and it went up 40%.
Wow.
He said
that's huge.
He said between him and his wife, he's got an extra $60,000 in his 401k in 1 year.
That's ridiculous because, I mean, I remember if you could gain 10% in a year on any holding whatsoever, you were doing really well. If you could get 20%, you are on fire. Anything more than that, and it's almost like, oh, remember that stock I bought for like $100? Dude, it's up 25% this year, man. Yeah, so it's more like a little bonus. But like a 401k is like where a majority of your wealth from your life's work is. Right. So for that to be the thing to go up 40%, that's life-changing.
In the shop that I worked at back in 2013, Cincinnati Incorporated out in Harrison, the old men that were retired, when I say old men, the guy's been there 40 years, 41 years, 42 years.
Right.
There's a handful of them, probably about a dozen of them about ready to retire. And in 2013, the depressed, borderline suicide look on these guys' face, day in and day out, nonstop. I've lost this. They were counting the money they lost in their 401k. The company that we were working for froze all pensions, and they weren't the last generation to get a pension, and they weren't going to get any pension. They had like hundreds of thousands of dollars they were supposed to get. And the company was filing bankruptcy and frozen pensions, everything. And there was no light at the end of the tunnel. I saw a couple of them just this past Christmas, the Christmas party, the first week of December with get together with these guys. Oh my God, you should see them. It's a whole renewed life that they have. Completely 5 years, completely different. 5 years.
Yep, it's going to keep getting better, folks. So I guess the next time you'll hear us, we're going to do one right before New Year's, and that'll be it for 2017.
And we might do a little something throughout the week, so keep posted, stay posted, and we'll be here for you all over the place for you.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.
Republic.